When it comes to ICE arrests in our community, it's important that we understand what's happening and that we keep calm. Today, Katie Kavanaugh, Senior Attorney for the California Collaborative for Immigrant Justice, will help us understand Expanded Expedited Removal, a process under which certain people who are not U.S. citizens can be deported very quickly without seeing an immigration judge or having the chance to fight their case. Katie will also explain what you can do to avoid getting into this process. At the end of the video, we will share numbers of rapid response hotlines that you can call if you or your loved one are arrested by ICE. Does expedited removal affect me?
Immigration authorities can apply expedited removal to certain undocumented people who they detain anywhere in the United States, if the person cannot show that they have been in the U.S. for at least the 2 years before they are detained.
Are there any exceptions?
Yes. People who are not subject to expedited removal include lawful permanent residents, also known as green card holders, anyone who entered on a valid visa or who was paroled into the United States, even if that visa or parole has since expired, unaccompanied minors, as well as people with other lawful status, such as asylum, U visa, T visa, or people with one of those applications pending.
What should I do if I'm stopped by an immigration officer and meet one of those exceptions?
The first thing anyone should do is ask if they are free to go, and if so, stay silent and walk away. Otherwise, you should show proof of your lawful status to the officer. Say, I have lawful status, and I am not subject to expedited removal. If you entered on a visa or parole, tell the officer, I entered on a visa, or I was paroled into the US, and I am not subject to expedited removal. If you don't have these documents with you, ask if you can call somebody to get them for you.
What if I don't meet one of those exceptions?
If you do not meet one of the exceptions mentioned earlier, but you have been in the United States for at least 2 years, you should simply state, I have lived in the United States for at least 2 years, and I am not subject to expedited removal. This is very important. If the officer does not have proof that you were born outside the United States, you should stay silent. You generally do not want to admit that you were born outside of the country if the officers don't have proof of it.
How can I prove that I've lived in the US for the past 2 years?
Put together an envelope of documents that show you have been in the US for the last 2 years. Evidence that doesn't mention what country you were born in is best. Here are some examples. Lease or rent receipts, phone bills, birth, school, or medical records for your children or you, as long as they have your name on them, or even Facebook or other social media posts that have a date and location, such as photos you are tagged in. To be safe, you may want to carry your envelope with you at all times. If you leave it at home, make sure someone you can call in an emergency knows where to find your envelope and memorize that person's phone number.
What should I do if I'm stopped by an immigration officer and don't meet one of these exceptions?
If you're afraid to return to your home country, you should tell immigration, I am afraid to return to my country. If you say this, for most people, it will pause the expedited removal so that you can have what's called a credible fear interview. If you've been ordered deported in the past, you might not be eligible for such an interview, but you should still tell immigration if you're afraid.
What if I entered the US without permission, have been here less than 2 years, and I'm not afraid to return to my home country?
It's possible that immigration officials can use expedited removal to deport you very quickly. However, if you have a serious medical or mental health condition, or if you are the sole caretaker of a U.S. citizen child, you should tell the officer. Otherwise, stay silent. Whatever the situation, it's always best to consult with an immigration lawyer as soon as possible.
How can I find help if I'm stopped by immigration officials?
Rapid response hotlines across California are ready to help if you or a loved one is detained by immigration. So memorize the number for your local hotline and share it with your community. A list of rapid response hotlines in California is coming up.
Edited and produced by the California Collaborative for Immigrant Justice. The information in this video is not intended to be legal advice. Every person's situation is different, and you should consult with an immigration lawyer if possible to discuss specific advice for you.